Hello students, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Study Restfully. Today, I am going to present before you the questions and answers of the poem named The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk written by William Cowper. So let's take a look. A. Answer these questions in one or two words. Number 1. Who was Alexander Selkirk? Answer. Alexander Selkirk was a Scottish privateer and officer in the Royal Navy. He was stranded on an island in the Pacific for 4 years and 4 months. Number 2. What kind of an island was Selkirk marooned on? Answer. Selkirk was marooned on an isolated island for 4 years. Number 3. Does Selkirk regret his decision of living in solitude? Answer. Yes, Selkirk regretted his decision to live in seclusion, even though at first he thought he would enjoy being sole master of the island. Number 4. For how many years was Selkirk stranded on the island? Answer. Selkirk was stranded on the island of Juan Fernandez for 4 years and 4 months. 5. Name one poetic device used in the poem. Answer. Imagery is one of the poetic devices used in the poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk. B. Answer these questions in a few words each. Number 1. What is the significance of the island in the poem? Answer. In William Cowper's poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk, we can consider the island important because it represents isolation and loneliness. Selkirk had experienced this loneliness very well while he was stuck there. Firstly, the island represents physical isolation. Selkirk felt that he was cut off from society and human contact. The loneliness Selkirk felt led to deep self-reflection and a desire for companionship. The island also represents the journey of Selkirk's self-discovery. Selkirk was beginning to understand himself better. Other than this, the island represents Selkirk's connection with nature, which provided him solace and companionship. Through the island, we come to know about the human condition. Selkirk reflected on the value of human relationships and the meaning of being free. Number 2. What is the emotional state of Alexander Selkirk in the poem? Answer. The poem, The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk, is about his feelings of loneliness, longing for isolation, and human connection. The poem explores the theme of isolation and a human need for companionship. Initially, Selkirk was very happy living alone on the island, but soon he expressed his desire to come into human contact. He misses human communication and conversation and anticipates messages from home. The poem contrasts Selkirk's isolation with the busy society he left behind. Selkirk struggles with the conflicting emotions alternating between enjoying his island life and feeling lonely. Selkirk finds companionship in the animals around him, addressing them as if they were his friends. Number 3. What do you understand by the words sweet music of speech? Answer. The sweet music of speech is from William Cowper's poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk. This line reflects the simple pleasure of talking with other people. The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk is a poem about the mental struggles of Alexander Selkirk, a Scottish sailor who was stranded on an island from 1704 to 1709. This poem reflects the complex relationship between freedom and the need for social connection. Through sweet music of speech in this poem, we realize the simple pleasure of life with other people. Selkirk expresses his interest in society, friendship, and love. The poem teaches us that while solitude can yield profound insights, humans fundamentally need connection and companionship. Number 4. What elements of nature does the speaker think of using while trying to connect with the civilization? Answer. In the poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk, the speaker thought of using the following elements of nature when trying to connect with the civilization. In the present poem, sunlight is used as a symbol of energy, which shows how the elements of nature work together. Same way, water has been used as a symbol of nourishment. Another element of nature used in this poem is air, which is interdependent on other elements. Apart from all these, soil is an element of nature which is the symbol of growth. Trees are used as the symbols of life in this poem to show how the elements of nature work together. Then there is the natural process of the seasons, which can be used to show the harmony and cyclical processes of nature. Finally, life and death, growth and decay, etc. are also natural processes which can be used to show the harmony and cyclical processes of nature. See, answer these questions briefly in your own words. Number 1. What message did Selkirk want to convey to his friends? Answer. In the poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk, the protagonist's experiences convey the message that human connection is essential even though solitude can lead to insight. Firstly, the poem reflects the effects of isolation on the human psyche. Selkirk was a Scottish privateer who was stranded on an island in the Pacific Ocean for 4.5 years. The importance of the social connections Selkirk left behind that contrasted with his isolation are shown through this poem. The poem then depicts Selkirk's internal struggle with his loneliness and conflicting emotions. The poem gives us the message that contact with the nature is important and the animals around us can be our best companions when needed. The poem tells us that while solitude can lead to profound insight, the human need for connection and companionship is fundamental to the human experience. Number 2. How does Selkirk reflect upon the flight of the mind? Answer. In William Cowper's poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk, he reflects on his own struggles that he faced while marooned on an island. Selkirk's experiences illustrate the complex relationship between freedom and the need for social connection. From Selkirk's experience, we can learn about the cost of isolation and the mental difficulties he faced while living alone. At first, he enjoyed his freedom, but later, he began to yearn for companionship. From this poem, we learn that while solitude can bring us insight, humans also need connection and companionship. Selkirk's experiences show how he valued the simple pleasures of life such as speech, friendship, and love with others. Selkirk found peace through a deep connection with nature. Selkirk's story shows that people can survive despite being isolated. Number 3. What is Selkirk's view about solitude? Answer. The poem is based on historical accounts and interpretations of Alexander Selkirk's experience. When Selkirk was first stranded on the island, he felt uncomfortable being isolated from society. There was a complete lack of mutual interaction. The island gave him a chance to reflect on his life, values, and choices. Solitude enabled him to introspect. He had understood himself better. Selkirk's experience of solitude fostered a sense of self-reliance and independence. He had to survive in a challenging environment. The island enabled him to develop a deep connection with the natural world. He could enjoy the natural beauty of the island, observing and appreciating the flora and fauna. By connecting with nature, Selkirk felt peace and tranquility, but he missed the companionship, conversation, and sharing experiences that come with being part of a social community. This desire for connection is evident in his wish to be rescued and return to civilization. Number 4. How is mercy seen by Selkirk? Answer. In the poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk, we learn that mercy can give hope and strength to survive through trials. Through the poem, we learn about the emotional state of a Scottish sailor named Alexander Selkirk who was marooned on an island in the South Pacific for more than 4 years. This poem is an embodiment of the duality of solitude, which can be both liberating and lonely. In this poem, although Selkirk experiences despair, he remains balanced and survives. He wants to be in human contact, and in the meantime, nature provides some solace. Although he knows he is alone, he hopes to get a message from home soon. D. Answer these questions in detail. 1. Discuss the significance of the title The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk in relation to the poem's themes and content. Answer. The poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk primarily reflects the central theme about the intense loneliness and isolation experienced by Alexander Selkirk. Selkirk was a sailor in real life who was stranded on a deserted island for years. The poem highlights the psychological impact of being completely cut off from human society. He was forced to confront his thoughts and feelings in solitude. Alexander Selkirk refers to a real-life Scottish sailor who was stranded on a Pacific island for several years, making the title based on a true story of solitude. Loneliness, which clearly expresses the state of being alone, is the main sentiment of this poem. The title of the poem not only refers to physical isolation but also suggests the emotional and mental struggles that come with such extreme loneliness. The poem shows the beauty of the natural world around Selkirk while also emphasizing that nature cannot fully compensate for the lack of human contact. The poem explores Selkirk's internal conflict between accepting his situation and longing to connect with others, and his solitude is reflected in the poem's title. So to conclude, the title of the poem, The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk, ends up being a clear indicator of the poem's primary theme. From this poem, we learn about the deep psychological impact of isolation and a longing for human connection as experienced by the historical figure Alexander Selkirk. 2. And the last number, how does the poem explore the theme of isolation and loneliness? Give examples from the poem to support your answer. Answer. The poem The Solitude of Alexander Selkirk reflects the theme of isolation and loneliness. This poem is all about Alexander Selkirk's experiences on the deserted island. The line "monarch of all I survey" makes one feel a sense of control and dominance over one's surroundings. But soon his sense of power goes away and he realizes his isolation. He prefers a life full of dangers than loneliness where he survives. This could be felt very well from the line "better dwell in the midst of alarms than reign in this horrible place." Selkirk laments the complete absence of human contact in his life, saying, "I am out of humanity's reach. I must finish my journey alone." His immense desire for human contact is expressed in the lines, "Oh, tell me I yet have a friend, though a friend I am never to see." Nature is a mirror of Selkirk's loneliness, and even the animals do not support him. All of the above examples indicate a deep sense of isolation and loneliness having a deep impact on Selkirk's mental and emotional state. That's all for today. Looking forward to seeing you again. Have a good day. Thank you.